Hello and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to first apologize. I know it's been just a little while since I have done a video. The reason for that is mostly because when I set out to start this channel, I wanted to teach you about hockey things, etiquette, culture, all that kind of stuff. I never set out to teach you how to play hockey. I am not qualified to teach you how to play hockey. And honestly, I kind of just ran out of things to talk about. So if you have any things that you want to hear about, let me know, because I really want to do more videos, but I kind of ran out of ideas. So let me know. Also, don't forget to subscribe below and like as well if you like this video. So what I wanted to talk about today was I've kind of been keeping a list of random things in hockey that people say, oh, you should know that. But I'm like, but nobody ever thought to tell me because you've been playing since you were a kid. And as an adult, nobody tells us this because people assume that you just know it. So I've been keeping a list. I have just totally random, very, very random list. I will tell you, this is all different kinds of things. I have a couple graphs as well I'm going to show you. But again, not to teach you how to play hockey, just more some of the etiquette around hockey. So number one, I did want to talk a little bit. So I only have a couple of them that are going to have a graph. But number one, we're going to talk about the crease. And if you are brand new to hockey, you may not know what the crease is. The crease is this thing right here where the goalie stands. So it's generally going to be blue. If you're playing 3x3 on 3, it may not be blue, but generally it's going to be blue, and it's where the goalie stands. You're going to have one on both sides. You cannot stand in this area. There are a lot of refs that aren't necessarily going to call it if you go in for a second or two, but I will tell you, do not stand in this area is one of the kind of unspoken rules of hockey, that the other team can kind of push you or, shove you or do whatever they want if you're in that crease. Do not stand in that area. It's really rude. It's against the rules. The NHL is, there are different rules, but if you're playing beer league hockey, don't stand in this crease. Okay, number one, very, very important. While I have the graph up, this was one that was surprising. I didn't actually know until I started reffing. This is something I should have known a long time ago. There's going to be another circle right here, and usually the penalty boxes are going to be right here, right? And before a game starts, when you're doing warm-ups or during intermission, the refs are probably going to be standing right here. If you are not the team captain, you're not allowed to go talk to the refs in that area. Sounds weird. I kind of get it. They don't want a bunch of people rushing the refs before the game or after the game or whatever and complain about things. But this is one thing that it's kind of an unspoken rule. Again, do not talk to the refs if they're standing in this area, especially during warm-ups. Okay, number three, I have kind of talked about this before, and this is probably the biggest thing in hockey that you need to know if you are starting hockey is don't be a jerk, right? When you learn hockey as a child, you understand this is a game. We're all sportsmen here. We're great. When people start learning hockey as an adult, for some reason they think, I'm going to be an NHL player. I'm going to be the biggest jerk out there because that's what hockey's about. And I've heard this comment time and time again is that's what you're supposed to do in hockey. No. This is a sport. You are out there to have fun, to get some exercise, to get some, friends, things like that. But you are not out there to hurt somebody. You're not out there to be the biggest jerk out there who's going to be tripping people and running into people and doing all that. As long as you are kind of a sportsman and you're like, hey, we're both teams here. We're both out to enjoy this game. That's all you have to do. Don't go out there and think that you're an NHL player and that you're out there to hurt people. Just don't be a jerk. Generally, those people don't get invited back. So just so you know, whether it's a tournament or your league or anything else, I've seen people just kind of get excluded from entire leagues because they are that person that goes out there and thinks that they're an NHL player. Okay, so next, and again, these are super random, and this one's kind of small, but again, another thing I didn't know until I started reffing, something that I was just like, how do I not know this? I've been playing for a couple years. But it was when I was reading the rules, and again, nobody told me this. If you have a piece of broken equipment, and what that means is if your stick breaks while you're on the ice or for some reason something else breaks, you are not allowed to pick it up again. And that, again, very random. But if your stick breaks and you think, oh, I'm going to grab this and take it to the bench when I get off. No, that's actually, that is against the rules. You leave your broken equipment on the ice when you skate off. And there's reasons for that, right? If you're carrying a broken stick and you run into somebody, you can spear them or something like that, right? So just so you know, I've seen people who actually got their sticks stuck in the boards and then you try to yank it out and it actually breaks it. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to go back to the bench. No, you can't do that. If you have broken equipment, leave it on the ice. Next one, this is kind of a big deal. This is another thing people don't know. And this kind of got a little bit muddied during the pandemic is do not get dressed at home. Because during the pandemic, some of us had to partially get dressed at home because we weren't given very much time to dress at the rink. But there is a thing called a home dresser, and that's what we call people when they get dressed at home. You will have plenty of time to get dressed at the rink. If you don't want to get dressed in a locker room full of other people, you can use the restroom to put your underthings on. That's totally fine, but it's kind of another unspoken rule. Don't get dressed at home. And the other thing that goes with that, and again, kids can get away with this up to a certain point, but there's other rules like don't let somebody tie your laces. Don't let somebody carry your bag. Don't let your girlfriend carry your bag. Don't let your boyfriend carry your bag. You should be carrying your own equipment when you go into the rink, all that kind of stuff. Okay, another one I didn't know until I started reffing is when you are lining up for a face-off and the ref blows the whistle, that means you have 5 seconds before he's going to drop the puck. That means hurry up. I used to think that he blew the whistle. That means we're done. He's dropping the puck right now. It means you have 5 seconds and you better hurry if you're not out there already, because a lot of times you're ready to drop the puck and people are just kind of dawdling and not getting on and not doing their changes right. And so just so you know, whistle means 5 seconds. Okay, so another one, and I really wanted to do a whole video on this, but this really does touch on the side of teaching you how to play hockey, and that's not really what I want to do, but I did want to kind of touch on the side of face-off positions. And I'm just going to do the first one. So you're going to do a face-off position in around one of these circles, right? So depending on how the play ended, where the puck ended, all that kind of stuff. But I want to show you where you're supposed to stand, because I think that this is important and not a lot of people know this until you're out there and they're like, hey, move. And this does not account for it. There are different reasonings for standing different places when you're down low. I'm not going to touch on that. Again, I'm not an expert on that. Sometimes I do just go where people tell me to. But in general, I want to tell you where you're supposed to stand. So say this is your goalie. Over here, if we are doing a puck drop in the middle, and 95% of the time, if it's in the middle, it's because it's either the beginning of a period or it's because it's after a goal. So your goalie's over here. If you are right wing, you're going to be standing here. If you're left wing, you're going to be standing here. And if you are the center, you're going to be standing there. And then defense are back here at some point. So just remember that I always think about it as if, okay, my goalie's behind me and I'm on the right side. So let's see if I can write this. It's going to be backwards. Right and left and then center. So obviously the center is going to be doing the face-off right here. So just know that if you have your goalie behind you, you are on your defensive side. You're going to be right and left. And then again, right defense, left defense. So that's a very generic kind of explanation of face-offs, but just know that your position is going to be telling you where you're supposed to be standing. And again, when you get down here, I mean, there's different theories on should you be in that same place, should more people be down here, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go into that. I just wanted to give you a generic idea of where you're supposed to be standing on those face-offs. And then very last random note I have about random things you should know when you start hockey as an adult. The best investment you will make, and I mean this more than any piece of equipment that you own, is stock up on Febreze. It has saved marriages across the world. I promise you. You will not have time to wash all your equipment every single game. I do wash all my under things every game, but in terms of the stuff that can't go necessarily in the washer every game, your helmet, your gloves, even your breezers, your skates, things like that, you will want to Febreze as much as you can. You can also Lysol, there are also germ killers, things like that. But just so you know, depending on where you leave your equipment, we leave our equipment in the garage and we still Febreze everything so much all the time because you want to kill those germs, but you also want to take away that smell, and you will get used to that hockey smell both in your car and in your house. If your partner is not somebody who also plays, they will be less understanding. So stock up on Febreze. Number one thing that you should be really investing in when you start your hockey career. So I know this video was super random. I really just kind of wanted to give you a list of some certain things to think about when you start playing hockey as an adult. But if you have any questions or you have anything that I missed, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe below. And again, please let me know what other videos you want to see. And I will see you soon.